This is you. You're sitting next to someone whose laptop just died. Not slow, not lagging, not maybe it still works. Dead. Black screen. No response. No sound. Just gone. And of course, they need it right now. Something important was open. Something unsaved. Something they were just about to send. You can see it on their face. That exact moment where inconvenience turns into stress. Within seconds, everyone gets involved. Someone starts pressing random keys like speed might fix it. Someone says, just restart it, like that's a new idea. Someone's already Googling something and reading it out loud, incorrectly. Try holding the power button for 30 seconds. It could be the motherboard. Did you install something recently? None of it helps. It never does. And somehow, in less than a minute, the situation feels worse than before. Not because the laptop changed, but because the room did. And then there's you. You don't jump in. You don't start guessing. You don't try to match the urgency. You just look at it. Not the panic, the problem. You notice small things, the way it shut off, what happened right before, what didn't happen. You're not even fully aware you're doing it. You just don't rush. And that's the part most people don't understand. Because from the outside, it looks like confidence. Like you've seen this exact problem before. Like you already know what to do. You don't. You just don't treat not knowing as a reason to stop. You reach over, press the power button, nothing. You hold it longer, still nothing. You unplug the charger, plug it back in, wait, try again. For a second, nothing changes. And this is the moment where most people quit. Because this is the uncomfortable part. The part where you don't know if anything you're doing matters. The part where it might get worse. But you stay there. You try one more thing. Something small. Something most people wouldn't even think about. The screen flickers. And then it boots. Silence. Everyone looks at you. Like you just performed some kind of technical miracle. You didn't. You just stayed in the problem longer than they did. And that's the pattern. Because this doesn't just happen with laptops. It's small things. A phone that won't connect. A sink that won't stop dripping. A situation that gets slightly awkward. And then more awkward. And then completely unnecessary. Same sequence. Something goes wrong. People react fast. Too fast. They start trying to fix it before they understand it. Talking more, doing more, thinking less. And you don't. You pause. Just long enough to see what's actually happening. And then you start. Not perfectly, not confidently, just practically. And somehow, things move. Not always clean, not always fully fixed, but enough. Always enough. And if you pay attention, that enough is doing more than it looks like. Because your brain is tracking something very specific. Not success, not perfection, evidence. Moments where you interacted with a problem and something changed. Psychologists have a term for this, self-efficacy. Stripped of all the academic language, it just means this. You believe your actions matter. Not in a motivational way, not in a you can do anything kind of way, just in a very simple, grounded sense. If I try something, there's a chance it will move. And that belief changes everything. Because when something goes wrong, most people aren't missing intelligence. They're missing proof. Proof that trying won't make things worse. Proof that action actually leads somewhere. Proof that they won't break it further. So instead, they hesitate. They wait. They look for the right answer before they start. And while they're doing that, nothing moves. You don't do that. Not because you're smarter, not because you're more skilled, but because at some point, you collected enough small moments where things worked. Not big wins, not dramatic fixes, small things. You pressed something, adjusted something, tried something you weren't fully sure about. And it didn't fall apart. Sometimes it even worked, and your brain kept that. In psychology, those are called mastery experiences, and they are one of the strongest predictors of how someone behaves when things go wrong. Not what they know, not how smart they are, but how many times they've experienced, I tried, and something happened. That's what builds this quiet assumption you carry around, not confidence, expectation that problems are workable. And once that's there, everything changes. Because now, when something breaks, your brain doesn't treat it like a final state, it treats it like a starting point. There's another concept for this: locus of control. Most people sit closer to the external side, meaning, when something goes wrong, it feels like something happening to them, out of their control, out of their reach, something that needs to be fixed by someone else. You don't. You instinctively look for where you can step in, not because you're sure it'll work, but because you assume your actions are part of the equation. And that changes how long you stay in a problem. Others step back. You stay. Others wait for certainty. You create a starting point. And the bigger the situation gets, the more obvious that difference becomes. Because there's a moment most people can't handle, that space between this is broken and this is fixed, where nothing is clear yet, no instructions, no guarantees, no obvious next move. That's where most people shut down. They need resolution immediately. And when they don't get it, they either freeze or they hand it off to someone else. You don't. You're not comfortable there. Let's be honest, but you can sit in it just long enough to try something, and that's usually all it takes. But here's the part people don't like to talk about. Not everyone learned this in a clean way. Some people didn't develop this because they were curious. They developed it because they had to. At some point, waiting didn't work. Help wasn't coming. Things didn't get handled unless they handled them. So their brain adapted. We don't wait, we act. And over time, that just became who they are, the person who fixes things, even when no one asked, even when it's not their responsibility, even when they'd rather not. That's the less comfortable version of this. But there's also a better one. The version where it's not about control, not about avoiding helplessness, but about curiosity, where something breaks, and instead of stress, there's a small shift in attention, not excitement. Let's not exaggerate, but interest. That gap between not working and working becomes something you can step into, something you can interact with. And once that happens, you're not really trying to fix things anymore. You're trying to understand them, and that's when it becomes effortless. Because now, you don't need certainty. You just need movement. And over time, people notice. They start looking at you when things go wrong. Not because you're the most qualified, not because you always have the answer, but because you're the one who doesn't stop. And the strange part? You still don't see it as anything special. You don't think of yourself as someone who's good at fixing things. You just think, most people give up a little too early. So when something breaks and everything around you speeds up, you don't. You pause just for a second, and then you start.